G'day folks, and welcome to Cinema Australia. My name's Matthew Eales and I'm joined by the fabulous Asher Keddie and Stephan Elliott, who are here to speak about their new film Swinging Safari. Congratulations on the film, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
So Stephan, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a bit about the film, what it's about?
Well, it's kind of a it's a flash through the family photo album of my childhood. It's and at very high speed too. It's very high speed. I've just looked around at a generation of helicopter parenting and watching kids today just not getting any experiences. And I thought, wow, how did we grow up? And we grew up really quite fabulously and dangerously. I mean, it was dangerous, and you know, things happened, and we got bitten, and we got scratched and attacked, and we saw things we shouldn't have seen, which is very much what the film's about. But I reckon we turned out all right.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Asher, can you tell us a bit about the characters that the adults in the film play?
Sure. Thanks, Steph. Yeah. We're a bunch of parents that are fairly discombobulated when we meet them, and they're kind of rudderless. They don't really know where to go to next and how to behave and what to do. They're a little bit disillusioned, a bit lost. And so that's created, you know, quite a disconnect in their relationships. And so they have this insane idea to throw a key party. Well, a couple of the women do. One of them is my character, Gail, who's very excited about it because she's feeling a little bored, you know, but completely self-involved, these people, when we meet them in the film. And so the children are... you know, they're feeling lost too because of that. They're great characters. I think they're all really well defined. They were really well defined before we came to the party. Steph, you know, wrote great characters as he does, and it was a challenge and a joy to you know, layer them up as much as we could within a big ensemble.
Yes.
You know, we're in most scenes all together.
I describe them as being bonkers.
Bonkers.
Really it's a crazy film.
Yeah, they go bonkers throughout the duration of the film. Yeah.
Did you base your character on anyone in particular?
No, I didn't. I unless I'm playing someone well known, like Ita Buttrose or something like that. I never do that. The characters for me are amalgamation of many different people and experiences and voices, and but I will say though that the look of my character, I really couldn't go past my own mother because she was, to me, just beautiful, smoking hot when in the mid-70s, and I loved her hair and her makeup and her clothes and her sense of style. And so I spoke to Steph about that, and Lizzie Gardner and Rick Findlater, our hair and makeup designer, and we went for it.
Great.
Yeah.
So obviously this incredible group of adults are all great in the film, but at its heart is this terrific group of younger actors and young characters led by Atticus Robb and Darcy Wilson. Can you tell us a bit about working with those kids and those characters in particular?
Well, the kids are the key, and specifically Atticus' character, a couple of Coke. Yeah, a couple of Coke. Atticus and a pant. No, Atticus plays a version of myself at 14 years old. No, I was a teenager, a very early teenager, running amok with a Super 8 camera, and I began to film things, that maybe I shouldn't have filmed, and that's a real basis of the film. But like, it is a kid's perspective of the world, and particularly what the adults are doing. So the film really does chart the children trying to look at their parents to work out what the hell is going on. And so in that instance, it's very much a children's film. But look at the child now. Here's the child. You're looking at him.
Yes.
So that's the demographic. Anyone will be able to, in the film, look at this 14-year-old and suddenly realise, well, if I'm 14, I'm now 50 now.
Yes.
It's like, so the kids have grown up. So it's a great way of reflecting what they saw as kids, what their parents were doing. And it was amazing. And those are just our two leads. But on top of that, we had the most amazing ensemble of Gold Coast kids that were just wild animals. They were just fantastic, and part of them was whipping them into a frenzy and screaming action and just letting them go. And sometimes, we had about 26, 27 people all talking at the same time, which is really hard for any performer to try and break through that noise when there's so many people fighting for screen time, but we did it. Somehow we found a good balance, and even the kids found their place within those busy frames. And yeah, I'm really proud of all the kids on this one.
Yeah, they did find their place, and they had to be bold in that way, actually, and really step forward in such a large ensemble, as touching on before. You know, that was the challenge, and it was a great challenge to have. Amidst the chaos, you really had to focus on, standing up and delivering a performance. And the kids, I think, really came to the party.
They are terrific. All right, so we're going to take a look at a clip now. It's a scene where Asher's character introduces her guests to a game of swinging safari.
No, she thought it was the other one.
The next game is called Swinging Safari.
Oh, yeah.
This is a vase. Gentlemen, you all have keys.
Yes, you've heard about it, you've read about it, and tonight you're going to live it. Because the world is spinning like a rotisserie chook. Who wants to get left behind?
Stuff it. I'm in. I'm in. Hey.
It's the right choice, that's right, yeah.
So, Asher, was there anything in the film that made you think we really need to bring this back from the 70s?
Yeah. There was so much that I enjoyed and that I remembered really, really fondly.
Right.
But more
You
than
would have been quite young in the 70s,
I
though,
was.
right?
Well,
like,
yeah,
what, 2 or 3?
I was born in 74.
Right.
So, by the end of the 70s, moving into the early 80s, I was between 6 and 8. I mean, you're kind of, old enough then to know what's going on.
Yes.
And have some kind of perspective. So I do remember a lot of it. In fact, most of my childhood memories are strongest at that point. I think the thing that I felt the need to I wanted to bring back into the way we live now is definitely, with young children myself, to just not hold on quite so tight.
Yes.
So as Steph was alluding to at the beginning, that we are just so controlling of our environment, our children now. And we were fine. I mean, the shenanigans that we got up to, leaving at 8 in the morning, coming home at 8 at night, goodness knows, our parents did not know what we were doing, and they weren't supervising us. We were all relying on each other to take care, in a group of friends or a group of cousins or whoever was around. And we looked after each other. And we sorted stuff out ourselves without parents trying to fix everything all the time, at every moment. I'm trying, and this has come from the experience of making the film, I'm trying not to fix everything at every moment for my children. Let them think for themselves and, imagine for themselves as well.
I felt the same way after I saw the film.
Right.
Come on, kids.
Great.
Get out there.
Yeah, that's
the only
right.
thing that I want to continue to do with my children is to make sure they slip, slop and slap. Anything else, do
Oh,
what
for
you want to
sure.
do.
But I
Just
think
wear sunscreen.
Exactly, wear sunscreen. But I think
Yeah.
it's important for kids to be adventurous. I think it's a great thing to, explore when you're a kid.
Yes.
It puts you in good stead.
Stephan, you asked the question in your director's statement, is there a childhood moment that defined who you are? Was there a childhood moment for either of you two that defines who you are today? Without getting too personal?
Okay, here's one. I remember the first time I have a memory of being in a cinema. 2 people were walking down the street and one of them had a bowl of pasta on his head. And I don't know how old I was, but I asked my mother many years later, when I think about it, a defining moment was actually being very young. And Mum, it still says I would have had to have been 2 or 3, Bub's session.
Yeah.
And I said, you've got to tell me what that film is. And she said, look, I don't know. He's taken to the pictures all the time. And I've been on a hunt ever since that because I've never found the film. And I know that image is completely etched in my head, and I still can't find it.
Yeah.
So that began, strangely, a strange journey into cinema, hunting for the spaghetti head man. I mean, I've never found it, but it's my cinema experience.
You must have spent hours on YouTube.
Oh, no, I do, seriously. And I've asked people randomly, 2 guys walking down the street, one's got spaghetti and they can't find it. So I hope before I pass that I can discover what that film was.
A defining
A defining moment.
Yeah.
Like, I got my interest in cinema started, and I was, 3?
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, I've never shared that with anyone. There you go. You're getting it first here. I've never
Exclusive.
shared
We
that.
love exclusives here.
Yeah.
Asher?
Oh, look, I probably had a few. I mean, we've all had a few. But had I not been talking about this earlier today, I may not have mentioned this, but I think it probably was a really defining moment for me because it's a strong memory of play and adventure and freedom, actually, to make my own choices.
Yeah.
I was I had an incredible dress-up box. My grandmother and my mum provided me with. I mean, really quite amazing 50s, 60s, 70s clothes.
Wow.
You know, really great stuff and jewels. And my mum allowed me to walk nearly 2 kilometres down the street where we lived to the local supermarket in her wedding dress, which was highly detailed, incredibly beautiful, big, long train. And I remember that being one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life, I have to say. Yeah, just because
It's
I was
beautiful.
allowed to do that, you know. And I'm sure it was a defining moment for my personality, actually, is that my mother just didn't cramp my style. She just thought, she's got to express herself, I'm going to let her. And I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, lovely. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us, both of you. Do you guys want to let our viewers know when and where you can see the film?
Yes.
Do you know when it comes out?
Yes. It comes out tomorrow.
Yes.
We open January 18.
There you have it,
That's
folks.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it,
Cinemas
tomorrow.
around
We
Australia.
need, we need to, I need you to see it this weekend. Let's go to a cinema. I hope it pours I hope it pours everywhere in the country on this bed.
Go to the cinemas and see it, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to leave you now with the trailer from the film.
There comes a time in every man's life. Bugger it, just take him. Now you know how to put him on, right? So I could take you to the bathroom, I could show you.
What the hell happened in the 1970s? Let's go back and meet 3 rudderless families. The Joneses were the big kahunas on the block.
Somebody's gonna get hurt and it's not gonna be me!
The Hall House was a disaster movie in the making.
Welcome to the club, men. That's the way.
My family was stuck right in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
Dad!
Oh, g'day, Mr. Marsh.
I was armed with a Super 8 camera.
What you got there, love? Look at that!
No cameras tonight?
I captured everything
Oh, I think I'm gonna hurl.
in the hope I could edit together
The next game's called Swinging Safari.
Oh, I'm here.
what was going through our poor, misguided heads.
Why were they doing that to each other?
I don't know. We just go to school like normal.
Surprise!
The pill, sweetheart. Your father and I think it's time.
Thank you!
And what are we playing? Poker. Everybody else has.
Bush pig.
Shut up, hussy.
Alcoholic. Bottle blonde.
Cock tease.
Our parents did the best they could with the bent tools they were handed.
Looks like you might have found yourself a plot, Tiger.
We're all going to Catholic boarding schools. The priests will have their way with you.